Welcome to episode 8 of the Inside Real Estate Podcast. Today we have Zack Cucinotta. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Close enough. It's Cucinotta.
Cucinotta. I knew I was going to butcher it.
That's all right. Everyone does. Got that since I was 5.
So Zack is, haven't known him for that long, but very cool individual, very well-rounded in the real estate department. So Zack, if you just take a minute and just kind of tell everybody who you are and, give us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Really just, I guess from where I started getting into real estate, I've been a loan officer, doing mortgages for, I guess, like 3 years, 4 years, something like that. So I kind of got started, introduced, I guess, into like the real estate game in that realm, and kind of just gained an interest in, real estate. And I liked doing it and was good at it. And then basically ended up reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it basically kind of changed my life. And I was like, okay, I got to do this. So I kind of scooped up a couple rental properties myself. And then I was kind of just looking at different ways to, meet people doing what I wanted to do, like things like flips and burrs and stuff like that I didn't really understand. And I understood them. It's just that I couldn't do any work up until I met Rob Lawrence. So that's basically when everything changed. I kind of just went on Bigger Pockets. And I recommend this to anyone kind of trying to meet people, to learn. If you go on Bigger Pockets, you can go to meetups in your area, like real estate investor meetings.
Have local.
Yeah, like local meetings. And Rob's was the only one on there. So I actually called Rob like right there when I saw it. And I was like, hey, man, can I, how do I come to your meeting? Do I have to sign up or something? He was like, nah, you can just show up. He was like, I'm actually at my flip right now if you want to come by. And I was like, okay. So I call up my fiance, Morgan. I'm like, hey, I'm about to go to this guy's house that I met online. If I die, this is where I'm at. So, met Rob, didn't die. And, basically ended up doing a couple transactions with Rob, doing a flip. I guess I'm on my second flip, and the one I live in is in Ardmore. Got that for $320. ARV was $525, and the other one is in Avondale, so that was purchased for $335. Only needed a little bit of work, which was cool. It was a foreclosure, and we're thinking ARV $525.
Okay,
so
nice.
Yeah.
It's actually how I met you the first time, was when Rob was listing one of your your properties.
Yeah, he was listing one of the places I had in Norristown, which was great. And that's when I moved out of that one and I got into the Ardmore one. And and obviously recently became an agent too. Because I just said, you know what, I like doing this. And I was sending out all these investment properties to my friends, you should buy this. You should buy this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should get paid to do this.
yeah, for sure. So you got into lending first,
right?
So what prompted you to get into lending?
I was actually selling cars before I did mortgages.
Okay,
and it basically was just you're unhappy at your current job, and without getting into too much detail. So I was talking to my friends, what are you doing? You always get ideas and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And my one friend, he said, dude, I just started doing mortgages. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, and it's a 100% commission-based job. So he was telling me the commissions and stuff like that. And I like commission-based pay. I don't, I didn't want a salary or anything like that. So, he was like, you should take a look at it. So I called this company and I was like, are you guys hiring? And he was like, yeah. So brought me in, pretty much got the job at the interview. That was history. I quit my job and started going there.
Cool. So that led you to, after that, was there something that's what was the jump off point where you started to buy?
When I started to buy when, of course I had enough money, I guess, but I guess probably shortly after reading the book, I said, man, I got to start making some moves, and I didn't know really, the best way to make a move or if it was the right move exactly. But I could tell if a property cash flowed,
Mm-hmm.
and, I just wanted to do something because, I don't know, I like to do stuff basically. And so that's when I made my first move and I bought a duplex.
Okay.
Yeah. Then my second move was buying a quad.
Okay.
And then I met Rob, and that's when I started getting into.
So Rob was essentially the final piece that brought you into getting licensed?
Yeah, definitely for getting licensed and, maybe doing like the bigger projects and buying things to rehab and really get that, ARV. Just thinking as far as like as much money you can make, if you can flip a house in 3 months and make, 100,000 or something,
Sure.
As far as collecting rents off of it, how long is it going to take to make 100,000 in rent?
Right.
50 years.
Yeah. Now, did Rob bring it up to you, or you asked him about getting licensed? Like who brought that up?
I actually brought it up to Rob because I was, doing mortgages at the time. Rates are going up. It kind of sucks. I'm sure a lot of LOs, if they watch this, feel that. And I really liked going in properties, and I would just go check out properties with Rob if he was showing his investor clients some properties, just because I wanted to get the experience of going into houses and taking a look at the work needed, ARVs and stuff like that. And I really liked that. And I started to get a good grip on it.
Sure.
So then I basically was like, yo, Rob, I see you're hiring other people on your team. Would you want me to be on your team? Like, could I do that? And he was like, yeah. So basically in a month I did the course, got licensed, and, I came over.
It seems like you've had kind of like an interesting progression through all of this. Some people might jump from whatever job they had right into getting their real estate license, but it seems like a nice progression that kind of you were learning more and more about the industry as you kind of went along the way.
Definitely. It was definitely like, I didn't just like you said, just kind of jump into it and get licensed. And then you're like, I feel like, a lot of new agents might just kind of go into it and they just start learning about property right there. And, that's tough. So it was definitely nice to have that gradual course. And you
had exposure.
Right. I had a lot of exposure to real estate before I got licensed.
Yep.
So it definitely helped me kind of going in and, basically, I think I have, some good skills to offer my clients.
Cool.
Which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen of you so far, it looks that way. What do you think of being a real estate agent so far?
It's definitely kind of like tougher than I thought it would be, just because, whenever you get a new job, it's always just kind of stressful, going through like the learning curves. And of course, there's still stuff to learn, even though I know some stuff, but there's still so much I didn't know. And then really just getting a grip on your schedule, and every day, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? So besides, like, I knew that we had this podcast and I have like other meetings and stuff too, but like a lot of it's like on the fly. So like you really have to just kind of get used to like, your Google Calendar and sticking to it and getting everything down and just, handling your own schedule. Cause I was working from home. So it was pretty easy. I wake up and I do what I got to do at home.
Sure.
So
it's kind of creating systems and standard operating procedures and things like that. So that like, while it is on the fly, you're right. It's kind of, you just have to be able to act efficiently.
That's definitely like the biggest challenge. I think efficiency,
Yeah. Is it 2 months you said? You've been licensed?
2 months, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So what would you say like some things that that maybe you didn't know that you've learned in those first 2 months about the business?
The biggest thing I didn't really, I guess you could say, like, know was maybe just more terms on the contract. Like I've bought, I guess, 5 or 6 houses myself. So I was kind of familiar with like, going through the process, which was nice. And, obviously, knowing the mortgage documents and the whole side of the lending is huge too. But more like the sensitivity of the contract itself, and just working through things like that.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, I used to have my license, but when I, you had to do the Realtor Association, like orientation?
Yeah. Like the Tri-County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went there, they had this one one guy there that was reviewing, as part of that was, going over the contract. And I'll never, like, it always stuck with me that he said, the moment you don't respect this document, it'll screw you. Like there's, I had one agent that I was in my office when I had my license. She told me that she had the buyer. They went into a property and the buyer wanted this amazing chandelier supposedly that was in there, but apparently it was a family heirloom and they had listed it as exclusions. But then the buyers typed it into the contract that they wanted it. They had a lawyer and the agent went over it and they all missed it. And the buyers were kind of, hard asses about it, and they were pretty pissed. I'm like, eesh. But I mean, like, it just goes to show, like, it's a cool document too. Like, what do you think about like the paperwork aspect of it?
I hate paperwork.
I do too. But I guess from like, not like the administrative stuff, right? But like, as far as like the deal goes and negotiations and like terms and things, do you find that interesting at all?
Yeah, I kind of do. It's kind of cool because you can just, you can tweak the contract to make it the way you want it. And I like that. You can add, different addendums. You can add things into the contract yourself, and just like the ways you can kind of tweak your offer to make it more, juicy.
Yes. All right. So everybody starts from zero, basically. I think you had a good knowledge advantage coming into this that a lot of people don't have. What was your strategy getting started? In how you were going to approach going after business
in real estate, like not being an agent, you're saying, right?
Being an agent, because I think the reason I want to hear more about what you've done, because you've had some pretty decent success pretty quickly. And I think that there's a lot of people out there struggling to have success currently. And a lot of these people are people that have had success in the past. And it's, my humble opinion, I think a lot of people need to get back to basics. And I think that some of obviously you have to be motivated, but I think newer people in a lot of cases are having more success because they're getting out there and grinding. So like, what are you doing?
I'm 2 months in, so I'm not like some real estate guru.
No.
But
no, not at all. I don't mean like you on that, but like, are you cold calling, you door knocking? Like what's your strategy going after business right now?
I just didn't want to, like, if, people watching, they're like, oh, this guy.
No, not at all.
But anyway, what I do, I mean, I love Rob's, investor meetup and stuff like that. I like that because, just networking and meeting people. And
sure.
I promote a lot on like Instagram and stuff and share my, my flips and the houses I'm walking into, what I'm doing, my sales and stuff like that. And people reach out to me asking about real estate investing, things like that, like friends that I know and maybe that I didn't even know that did a flip before or something. And they just are like, oh yeah, I would like to do another one, or, they just want more information. So it's kind of cool to see that stuff. So social media is obviously, I think, pretty big.
So it's helping you start the conversation.
Exactly. Definitely. Even if it's just something like I post, like I go into a lot of really ugly houses and I always post on my story, like just kind of like something funny about the house and how ugly it is or like
sure.
whatever. And, even if it's just interactions with that, I get a lot of people just like commenting like, on my like comedic factors, I guess.
Yeah.
Like for example, I went into a house I had under contract, last week. And there was like, I can't smell anything. I'm really bad sense of smell, but we're walking in there and there's a smell apparently, like, we're like, what is that? And we walk into the kitchen. There is a container, like think a big container. And it said oregano on it, first of all, which is funny because it wasn't oregano and it wasn't what you think I'm about to say. It was dried fish.
Oh my God.
Dried, like whole fish, like this big, dried fish. And
I don't even want to know what that smelled like.
Yeah. And one of my friends was like, that's because it says oregano on the container. She was like, that doesn't look like oregano. I was just like, it's just funny,
Yeah.
So I do a lot of
100%.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Definitely. So you recently just got your first listing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how did that come about? And tell us, a little bit about the story.
Yeah. So I guess I met Laura from Rob. That's like definitely a big part of like having success is the fact that I have like a really successful team, and Rob does a really good job training me and stuff like that.
Okay.
Good people to mentor.
So you would recommend people finding a good team to start?
Definitely. I think that's definitely the biggest factor by far.
Yep.
I have good mentorship and, a good, realm of, individuals to help me out.
It's good.
And if I can execute for them, I guess I'm doing my job. So that's
absolutely.
Where I'm at. But you were saying about the first transaction.
Yeah.
Right. So this is Laura, and I think you probably know
We're
her.
Actually having her on the podcast next week.
I think she told me. Yeah. So that's really cool.
I was like, yeah, that's weird how that came together.
Yeah. So I met Laura at Rob's birthday, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were just talking about real estate and stuff, and, talking about getting licensed, and she just hit me up, and, after I got licensed and showed me a property she wanted to buy. So we went in it, and we were just talking about what we'd do to it, like how much it would cost, ARV, and ended up basically, I kind of contacted them before it went to market. So we kind of sneak in there and, so we beat the bid war essentially.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So we got it at a nice price, and, she renovated it really, really well. So that's where this listing comes in, and it's ready to go, a month later, and it looks like absolutely beautiful, Yeah. So it's a really nice house.
Now, so we did, Jake in our company did the marketing, the photography and all that stuff for you guys. Yeah. And I saw that it was staged. But before we get to that, so she did this in how long? She turned it around in how long?
I think it was like just over 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Okay.
3 or 4 weeks.
That's pretty quick, huh?
She's like lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She seems like a hustler. I'm excited to be speaking with her.
Yeah.
Now the staging, was that her idea? Is that something you guys brought to the table? Like, how did that come about? Staging the property?
Well, Laura's done a flip before, she has a couple other properties too that she's holding, short-term rental, stuff like that.
Okay.
So she's had she has a relationship with a stager that did a really good job on the last property she had. So she bought her back in, and she did. It's a really amazing
what a difference that can make for especially a blank property.
It's insane, man.
Yeah.
I was like, at first when I was, just getting into real estate and stuff, and I was like, do I really need to stage it? And then I was like, I think it really does make a difference.
Well, that the thing is like, so when we started this business, my father and I, real estate photography was very much in its infancy. So like, it wasn't the standard kind of how it is today, right? But not virtual staging, actual staging used to be something that was much more, it was more rare. And now, I mean, even just in the last like 2 years, we're seeing it a lot more. I don't know whether it's just there's more stagers and there's more, and it's the costs are coming down in general, or it's just becoming something that people are finding is, working for them. But yeah, we're seeing it a lot more. So very cool that you had you basically got the works on your first one.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a really nice place, and I'm so, it's funny just because I'm so used to, like I said, going into like these piles of crap. So it's nice to like
take your shoes off.
Yeah, put a suit on and like go in there and actually, have a good time.
Yeah.
I love going into the other property, so I'm having a good time there too.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's switch gears just for, briefly. So in the lending department. Now, that was like your first foray into real estate. Is it something I know you're still licensed to do it, but are you still doing it?
No, not really. I have my license. I actually want to bring it to, VRA and kind of hold it here too.
Yeah.
If anything happens, I can still get something done.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'm like actively, working on.
Sure.
I like the real estate side, transactions, buyers, sellers better.
Is there anything in particular from the lending end of things in your experience there that you're able to apply to the being a realtor end of things?
Definitely. So much. There's so much. I have a lot of comfortability with the lending side, and buyers. you said you were an agent at
Yes.
one time, right? You know, they're asking you questions about, you know, the mortgage process, especially first time buyers, you know,
Sure.
they have a lot of questions. So it's good to be able to be like, look, I know exactly how this goes.
So you're not just kind of giving the realtor's perspective. You're actually able to provide them a little bit deeper insight than somebody who's hasn't done lending.
Right. I'd say, you know,
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool.
I
You
also
speak the language, as they say.
Exactly. Plus it's great. And, you know, as far as ending, you know, when you're doing your investing and stuff, it's, there's definitely like a lot of loans and like taking money out and like this and that and different types of loans. So I think understanding all that is really, really key. You know?
Okay. That sounds like it would be. We don't have to stay on that too long, but are there any creative financing ideas that you're either using yourself or helping, buyers you're dealing with, take advantage of right now?
Yeah. So, because basically everyone I work with is like an investor of some type, you know,
Okay.
so a lot of like cash offers, things like that. So, you know, when you're trying to find financing for a cash offer, which sounds obviously redundant, but we're talking hard money loans, things like that, or, like a private lender, which is what I do for my transactions. Basically just a person that I have a relationship with that has funds that wants to lend out on real estate transactions. That's not like, let's say like a big, corporate lender or something like that. Because a lot of these houses you walk into, they're not going to qualify for a conventional mortgage because they're so beat. They don't have, they have a giant hole in the wall or, the roof's destroyed, leaking, whatever. So a lot of stuff like that, finding people that want to fund deals and kind of making connections with my buyers to see if the lender wants to work with them on that project because we have a set ARV and an exit plan that's going to work out for everyone.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, is somebody like, how would somebody go about finding a private lender? Is it easy to do, or is it just networking and then you found this person?
You can find hard money. Like if you just went to Google and typed in hard money loans for flips, you could find a bunch of people that are going to do it. A lot of lenders, though, they don't want to work with first-time investors, obviously because there's more risk involved.
I've learned this recently.
Yes. And, they're going to make your loan terms not as favorable for you for sure. And a lot of the loans are, they're big companies with, funds of people that just dump money into them, and you're dealing with, a loan officer and all this stuff. And it's just like a kind of like a typical transaction. Okay. So I kind of like the fact that I get to work with a person that I can call at any time and speak with, and that I can also kind of build a relationship with that person as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when I go to my next transaction, I'm like, hey, what's up? You want to work together on this deal? Oh yeah, sure. I know Zach. I know he has good deals. Let's take a look at it, run through it. Awesome. I'm good to go.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and Mike is right. So when you said private lender, is that you mean? So that's the same thing as hard lending?
It is, yeah. So a private lender is going to have a hard money loan option essentially for you.
Okay.
I actually met mine from Rob. Okay. And he met him from Steve. So Steve used to work with him when he first got started, and and then I know a couple other guys too. I've yet to work with or anything, but it's good to have a lot of people that to work with. Some people they might have all their money out on the street,
Yeah.
So they 100%. Might not be available, stuff like that.
Cool. How much experience do they like? Could I do one successful deal and that's enough experience for them? How much do they want to see before they want to work with you?
Most people want to see at least 1 to 2.
Okay.
I think even having just one where you can kind of,
they could consider it a fluke, I guess. So they want to see the second one.
Right. I mean, I think one's good though. Really, if you can show them look, I did it before, I can do it again. Maybe especially with a person actually. You have a recommendation from someone I had Rob to kind of back me up. You know what I mean? And be like, we have the connections to the contractors. We can get this done at good prices. We're not going to be fumbling around trying to get quotes and not knowing what's worth paying for. So, if you, for example, I got a hot water heater put in my flip, right? Mm-hmm. And I know what it costs, but I had a plumber in there because I had a minor issue that I need to fix pretty quick. So I didn't call my guy. I just called another guy. And he was like, let me go check everything else. And then he brought me back this quote, $6,000 to change out a hot water heater. So if you don't know any better, you might go for that. But I know that I can pay $1,500 to get it changed out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
That's important, stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okie doke. Well, let's move. Oh, one last thing. What's your best prediction for where interest rates end up by the end of 2024?
Who knows?
Come on, get out the crystal ball.
Right. I know. Now I'm going to go with that. They're going to decrease a little bit.
Okay. You think we'll hit 5?
No,
I'm
not going to be optimistic about it. But
fair enough.
Who knows?
Let's shift gears to investing for a little bit. So, briefly give us like the recap of like your experience, like how many deals you've done. Again, I know we talked about it spotty in the beginning.
Right. So I basically did, I guess we'll count right now. I think 5 houses. One's a duplex. One's a quad. One's a single family. I guess 3 single families. 3 single families, a duplex, and a quad.
And these are flips?
Not all flips. 2, the quad and the duplex were just, kind of buying for like the cash flow. I sold the duplex. So that made some money too. I only had it for a year and then I just sold it because I could get a little, good chunk.
Yeah.
And then I had a single family in Norristown, which I just bought to live in. And I kind of ended up making 45 on it in 1 year. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then I got into the Ardmore place. So that was really the first one that I kind of actually did work on. Okay. You know what I mean? Like a serious amount of work to get a higher ARV. And it just went really, really well. And I did a lot of the work myself. So I was like in there pretty much every day, like working on the house. And, I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, it's good. So I'm sure you learned a lot on that one.
Oh, so much, man. Yeah. So much. And then Avondale's my next one. And I kind of ended up subbing out all the work on it because it's kind of far from my house.
Yeah. Okay. What are your goals like long term? Do you have is it something that you want to work up and have like a portfolio, or are you just kind of like, where are you thinking you're headed with on the investment end of things?
No, I've definitely thought about it. And it's kind of funny because you like learn new information about investing and you're like, man, well, maybe I should try this and, different things and stuff like that. But I'd say for now, what I see myself as having a portfolio of some sort, you know what I mean? And I think what it looks like right now is I want to do a lot of burrs. I want to hold the property because I know where that's where the real gold is,
sure.
Where the money's made. Mm-hmm. And I have a flip right now because really just the rents in the area aren't probably where I'd want them to be to hold it. And I have a lot of money that I could kind of just get when I flip it. So it's just like nice too.
Yeah.
But I like buy and hold strategy. I would like to have, just a portfolio of, nice properties that I have that are cash flowing and, maybe eventually scale up into something like a commercial multi-unit kind of deal.
Yeah.
Something like that, in the future and just kind of keep building and, just have my, like little empire of real estate.
Absolutely. What, I guess, okay, so let's move on to this one. So you were telling me you just went and saw a property today. What was the deal behind that one?
Tell us about that. So that's Westchester, and I really want something in Westchester. Plus, this is 5 minutes from the office, so that's great. I'm 35 minutes from the office now in Ardmore. So it was right down the street, and it was like the style of the house is called a bungalow, which basically means it's like a one level with like another floor up above it, kind of. I don't know why it's not just I guess it's just like kind of like a Cape Cod.
Yeah.
If you think of it like that, like the pitched roof angles.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking the bottom floor looks really nice but the top floor is like a little wonky with the way the roof is pitched. So you'd have to dorm it out. And even then, just the layout's not really that great. It's like kind of weird. And we're just kind of like thinking, well, what would we do with that? And then it does have like the asbestos shingles on the outside. You know what I'm talking about? Yep. Yeah. So those are great. And then it also would need duct work, full forced air.
So it needs a good chunk of stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, that's like $20,000 right there. The roof, if you get a new roof with the dormers, that's like another, 25, 30. And then, if you do the shingles on the outside, that's another 10 easy probably. So then you didn't even get into the inside and doing like the new kitchen and like everything else. So
does it needs everything?
yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's not bad because this thing is kind of interesting in the spot it is where it would qualify for conventional financing. So let's say like, Mr. Smith wants to move in there and just live there and pay the mortgage like a normal guy. They could do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not an only cash deal. So it's like a lot of people are going to be going after this. You know what I mean? It kind of widens it from just investors.
Are you still in on it, or like you didn't rule it out yet?
I'm thinking about it. Rob didn't really like it because of the second floor, and I always run like kind of everything I'm doing by Rob to see what he thinks about it. And
smart guy.
Yes, very smart guy. And I don't know. I kind of like it, but I think maybe for what I want to do with it and where I would be, the price point might not be there for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a look at it again.
Interesting.
It's 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Well, that would make sense.
Right.
Let's move over to you a little bit. What where did Jewcy come from?
Jewcy? It's so funny because everyone thinks like, because I spell it Jewcy, that I'm Jewish, and I'm not Jewish.
I didn't think so, but they both thought you were.
I know. Rob like told me, he was like, dude, I thought you were Jewish this whole time. And I was like, I'm not Jewish.
I could see it. I could see it a little bit, but yeah, with the last name kind of negated that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And really, I just spelled it that way because the other way was taken. And I was just like, this
sometimes
is
it's as simple as that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I just had a Juicy Juice, and then I switched it over to Jewcy Real Estate or something.
I saw that
because I was like, I want people to,
you get it. You need to get a cool logo with that.
Yeah, I should. I really should.
All right, and then so obviously, if people are seeing you on camera,
yeah,
you're fit.
Yeah,
right. So you work out. I would say it's pretty fair to say that you're at an above average fitness level. How has that doesn't come with just half-assing going to the gym, right? So how has the discipline it took to build your physique translated to your professional career, if it has?
Definitely. I think pretty much everywhere I've gotten to, with like sales and just having a drive to do something, and it's all learned from bodybuilding and kind of where I kind of started training. And I feel like it kind of all traces back to that. So I think it's completely relatable and just kind of set up my whole future, when I decided to start training and, do bodybuilding, and you kind of learn all the things that really make you successful, I'd say, in, other parts of your life, like just dedication and sticking to something and researching something and just kind of putting everything you have into something to basically get results that you want.
Sure.
So if you can pretty much do that with one thing, you can do it with something else. And it kind of taught me to do that and to just enjoy the process and, find joy in like, the discipline and the work that it takes. And, I love training. So it wasn't really like it was hard work. Like it's hard work, of course, right?
Yeah.
But I loved it, so it's like, and I love real estate too. So it's kind of like, you're enjoying the process the whole time, even though it is like hard work and stuff, like if I'm doing a bodybuilding show and I'm waking up at, before work to train, and then, before bed, I'm doing an hour of cardio, is that fun? I guess the cardio part's not the funnest part, and like the diet,
enjoy the process, right?
Right. Enjoy the process. But, but it definitely translates. I think I owe like everything I have to, what I learned from bodybuilding, essentially.
Cool. Very cool. How long did it take you to get to where you are now? Like, when did you start
training?
Yeah.
I think I started like weightlifting in high school at like 16.
Okay.
And then I think I got more serious about it when I was like, I guess you could say 20. I was 20.
Okay.
And then I did my first like kind of like a bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
It's called Men's Physique.
Yeah.
If you ever seen it, with like the board shorts and the hip. So I started there, and then I was like, oh man, this is cool, and I loved it. And then I did a bodybuilding show next year, stuck in bodybuilding, and basically just kind of ran with it.
Just for I mean, like, I don't know how many people are actually going to care about this, but I'm just curious. Like, you watch like the Mr. Olympia stuff and all that. I think I always knew about it. I didn't really pay attention to it because I never really cared about the those big monsters. I think, like, I'm sure you saw Arnold was saying, it's like, it doesn't look good anymore. Like, I think, but I think since they did since they brought classic physique in, I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to be that big, and I don't think I would care to put in that kind of effort, but I can appreciate those physiques now. I think it's very cool. Like, C-Bomb is sick, dude. That physique is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That guy is, and he's a nice dude. He seems like he is. So, I mean, I kind of, I don't know. I've never been like super, out of shape, but I've kind of been getting into, I've probably been going to the gym consistently for probably the last like 6-7 months. And I've been in shape before, but like with work and one thing, I kind of got out of it. And like my goal right now is to kind of just keep building. Like it's fun. I like it. And and seeing the progress, and it definitely, the reason I asked you about the translation into work is like, it makes a difference. I see it like between energy level and just like mentality and things like that.
Yeah, definitely with the energy levels too. I noticed that, if I start my day off with the gym, that's like the best way to do it. I don't like going like after work and like you're tired or something, and I'll still do it sometimes, but I think it's great to like kind of go in the morning and like sets the tone for your day and everything,
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's pretty much all I have. Would you send us off with a positive message to the world?
Positive message to the world?
Yep. What do you got for us?
Love your brother.
I can get with that. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah. It's
Appreciate
Philly. Love your brother. City of brotherly love.
That's it, man.